So, Martin, choose wisely which one you want to bring to our attention, and we can, go through it fairly quickly. What's your next one?
Okay, so I'm gonna throw the bomb now.
Oh.
Okay, which admittedly is quite controversial in the current climate, let's say, that we live, which is the monarchy. Okay, I actually think now is the perfect time to get rid of it, because Queen Elizabeth, great woman, the longest ever serving one. No one's ever going to get to that again. So I think now we should say, look, it's 2022. This idea of a family, that you're just born into the family and you immediately have one of the most important positions, if not the most important position in the whole country. The idea of it just goes to your son, we need to get rid of. I mean, even so, that a head of state, that's fine, but just the fact that you get that for being just born into a family is just so wrong, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's extreme nepotism.
Yeah, it's, that there is no better example of it, is there? So, in any other job, so I don't know, let's say I'm a doctor, okay, and then it's like, okay, well, I'm retiring, so my son can just have the job. Don't worry, he's fine. He's my son.
Yes, that's very true. Yeah, it doesn't match the personality necessarily.
No, it's just crazy, and the fact that then there are, like, you have to say things like Your Majesty, Your Highness, and bow, like this person's like on some kind of level above, just for being born into another family is the thing. Which, some people that have like huge success in life, and you think like, wow, like if I ever met that person, I'd be like, oh my God. And there are people like that, but they've earned that. Other people, I don't want to mention names here, they've just literally been born into a different family. It's like, it's just so wrong. It really winds me up.
Yeah. A good point. Definitely a good point. Yeah. The obvious one that people kind of retort with is, tourism and that. It brings in a bit more money, maybe. We don't really know. I don't know if people have done true research on that. But I
think it's difficult to. And there were like, so the things I read, obviously, like republic.org, show stats that show the complete opposite of that. But you can't really do like an actual proper study.
One thing I did want to ask you is, wouldn't you be afraid of the fact that Boris Johnson was the head of state, effectively, if the Queen wasn't there to veto stuff that he would put through?
So that's what I said. You still can have a head of state, but just not so someone else to veto someone like Boris Johnson.
But then how do we choose that head of state?
So, for example, in Italy, they have a head of state. They have like a prime minister and a head of state that basically does the same as the Queen. Nothing. It's just there to maybe veto something, which I don't think has ever happened. But he's elected. It's not just, well, my dad or my mum was really good, so I got the job.
The other thought I had was, most politicians, they start off with the right mindset of, I want to make this country great again, and then once they get involved, they get mixed up with the politics of it all, and then they end up being fairly similar to the people at the top that they felt were rubbish. So that kind of system of bringing somebody into it kind of ruins that person. Whereas if you're born into it straight away and there's no argument, it's a bit more of a lottery as to whether that person will be a good person or not. I mean, it's probably going to be a spoilt twat.
And so the lottery, is that the good thing then, of like, oh, this is a lottery? Like, how's this gonna end?
Yeah.
It's like, like for my niece, there's these presents that you can buy where you don't know what's in it because it's like a lottery. So you get them a present and it's kind of like, what's in here? So same kind of logic, I suppose. Like, oh, how's he going to do? Ooh, let's have a look.
Yeah, I think that's what's kind of exciting about it as well. And the public love to moan about the political leaders, and yet we don't really moan about. I mean, Queen Elizabeth was a lovely human, from what we understand.
No doubt. And this is what I want to underline. No problem with. Well, I wouldn't say any of them. After what was his name? Charles' brother. What's his name? Philip.
Oh, Andrew.
No?
Prince Andrew.
He had a bit of So I was going to say they're all really nice, but he was sort of caught up in some, let's say, not very nice stuff. But especially Queen Elizabeth, great person, and I think the reason it sounds horrible, but she was great, is because there was never any scandal, no news. She was just doing her stuff, and that was great. So great person, no doubt about it.
Yeah. I saw online that 1 in 5 people want to abolish the monarchy in Great Britain. And then I thought about all of the people that queue up for her Jubilee, and the moments that we celebrated Queen Elizabeth. And they were loving it. They absolutely loved that day. And when they were on the TV, they were talking about it in such positive ways that it feels almost mean to take it away from those people. You'd be taking the joy from them, and you're only 1 in 5. I don't know.
That's a valid point, but I also think things have to change, don't they, at some point? Like, things do change. So, like, I don't know, in Rome, if you say, like, well, we had the Colosseum and all of those people were watching people get murdered in the Colosseum, they were so happy, they were jumping and they were loving it. How are we going to stop letting animals eat these people? Like, at some point, it has to change.
That's a great point, yeah. Yeah, but to end on a serious note, where are we going to put all the bunting that we've accumulated over the years?
That's a valid point as well. I'm not sure how to respond to that one.
But the more important one, the crown jewels. What will we do with them?
I mean, I think maybe the British Museum has stolen so much stuff from other countries. Maybe we could give that to some other countries just to even things up a bit, really.
Nice point, yeah. I mean, I think you've argued your case pretty well. If I wasn't the host of this Room 101 right now, I'd probably deny it, but you've made a better point than I have, I think. So I'm going to allow it into Room 101 for you. There we go.
Excellent, thanks. And I hope someone's listening, because like I said, now is the time, because Queen Elizabeth was fantastic. 70 years, the longest ever serving queen or whatever. Now's the time. We've had a great run. Yeah. Now's the time.
Let's hope
to change.
Let's hope King Charles doesn't listen to this.
Just even that sounds so wrong, though, doesn't it? King Charles. That sounds so wrong.
Sounds pretty good for me, though.
Good point, actually. Yeah, didn't think about that. Yeah.
And my mother is called Elizabeth.
Oh, so, really? Wow.
Yeah. I can't believe I've put it in Room 101. Maybe I want to get him out so I can become king. But yeah, there we go. Okay, so that is the end of part 1. We're going to go on to part 2 and 3, where we get into some more styles of Room 101 and have some fun with some suggestions that celebrities have made over the years. Thank you very much, Martin.
Thanks a lot, Charlie. It's been a pleasure.